Danny Murphy, nobody better to put this to. It was interesting. The Premier League have now said they're going to be introducing thicker lines, unquote, thicker lines for offside calls in a bid to put an end to the unpopular marginal decisions. So those are the first changes we're going to see to VAR next season. Now, you have said in the past, look, if we're going to stick with VAR, you don't want that, but make change. Start tweaking.
It's a step in the right direction.
Make it better.
It's a step in the right direction. One of the pet hates of a lot of supporters is these minuscule offside decisions where somebody's off because of their shoulder or their sleeve or their knee, and I think the more you go away from that and create thicker line or daylight, whatever you want, there's ways of doing it. A thicker line does give more scope to the attacking player, which is good. It means that you'll see more goals given.
Or maybe no more offside by toe and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I for me, the big problem is, and I sound like a broken record, but the problem is with the whole offside thing, irrelevant of the thick line or thin line, is the delay that it causes and the players and the fans not being able to celebrate the goal because they've got to wait for the check. That's the problem for me with the offside.
Thicker lines?
It's evolution.
Coming home?
It's part and parcel,
Will they be as thick as the lines on his blazer?
Or as thick as the pundits, that comment on it. Yeah. We move into a situation where the offside, rule has caused a lot of controversy, caused a lot of people to turn around and say, if it stays. Shut up with the if it stays bit, right? Because it's staying. And get your mind around how it becomes effective in the situation. What you hate is a lack of spontaneity, right? And the ability to score a goal and then celebrate it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right, but everything's moved on and the game changes and expectations of the game change, and the next generation of fans may not hold the same view, and that's who they're trying to build a product for. When they start to move into body technology and they start to put sensors on players that can give the referees and the linesmen instantaneous read on somebody's positioning and someone's offside, then you'll get the spontaneity. There was always going to be, and I don't know why we want to do it differently, but this is a technology or a methodology that's being deployed in other countries already, right? The Dutch are already doing this thicker line mentality, right?
Yeah,
so I don't know why we seem to want to be forever the gift that keeps on giving, which is we don't take the best incarnation of something, we take our version of the incarnation and superimpose it over it and then have to learn from other people that should be no smarter than we are.
Well, the MLS did it as well, clear as that, they do it by the eye. It's just an obvious one, it's off. If not, they let it go.
So hopefully it'll take away some of the controversy.
Yeah.
But it will still lead the narrative for those that want to make the charge about how it shouldn't be done in the first place. And all of this, we talk about referees and their situations. All of this narrative that goes on about constantly unpicking things, people should wind their necks in and accept that things are going to happen and embrace how it changes rather than debate the idea that it's going to be in the first place. When we talk about referees...
Having said that, Simon, this still allows for marginal offsides.
Sure.
So the debate will go on.
Well, yeah, okay. But then we move to the next evolution, which is what I just discussed, potentially.
I think that's already in play.
Yeah, but it's not being utilised yet, is it?
I think there was
It's not part of our utilisation, is it?
No.
Right, because Wenger was talking about it and was, I think, behind some of the technology that UEFA were trialling and suggesting is the next stage of how VAR is. All of this moaning and groaning and dismantling of things goes to the fabric of the reasons why referees aren't better at their jobs, the reasons why referees aren't attracted to their jobs, the reasons why people don't respect the authority of a referee, the reasons why we don't get the continuity, the reason why we have debates about simulation. On one hand, you'll turn around and say, you personally, Danny, players should go down if they wouldn't get a penalty. On the other hand, you'll turn around and say they're a disgrace for doing it. The bottom line is, if you want to eradicate something, you give people the tools to do it. And that's what VAR is here for, to eradicate errors.
Yeah.
Not be pulled apart itself.
Yeah. I mean, credit where it's due, Danny. They have tinkered with this and they have tried. They have tried to improve the whole
But they should have done
process.
better from the outset.
Yeah.
They should have done better from the outset.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they'd have learned from the Russian World Cup, where actually it was quite a success. There was only one or two contentious issues. I think, look, it's always evolving, this conversation. And you're always going to get disagreements and people having different opinions on it because it's change. And people don't like change, including me. And obviously you.
What, in Poland department,
yes.
yeah.
But I don't think we should, just because it's here to stay and just because it's...
No, we shouldn't sit down and go, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, you can't accept
right.
mediocrity. Let's not accept
Absolutely.
mediocrity.
But that should be the conversation. But you start the conversation with, if it stays, and that shouldn't be the conversation. It should be, how do I get it to replicate what I want my football to look like, yet still be effective?
I don't have to accept that narrative. I can still have my hope I can still live in my fantasy world
Go
if I
on,
want
Danny.
to.
Yeah, okay.
I can live in my world and say, well, hopefully the
Do you
powers
think
that be
it could-
will see
do-
sense one day and
do you
go,
think-
this is
Go on,
this is
Danny.
But
ridiculous.
if it meets your expectations, right? If it takes away what you don't like, I'm paraphrasing you and correct me if I'm wrong.
takes away,
right?
yeah.
You don't like the lack of spontaneity. It takes away the absolute
Euphoria.
exuberance, right? Now, if they fix that and are able to negate that concern, what issue would you have then?
I'd have less of an issue.
What issue would you have full stop?
Well, I'd still have the issue where you've got multiple people making decisions, subjective
Why is
decisions.
that an issue? If
Because the referee should be making the decision.
Yep, the referee that you lot regularly dispute and argue with and challenge and don't have a respect for and everyone disagrees with and
When
criticises.
have I ever come on and started hammering referees? I don't do it. I never did it.
Well, you make the
You're
observation.
talking about managers and players.
But you do make the observation that, in essence,
I'll just
that
slip out
players should have a greater responsibility, and then run the counter argument in the same breath that if they don't go down, they don't get this, and the kid that fell over, Tottenham player that got hit in the eye, if he didn't go down, he wouldn't have got the free kick, and so on and so forth, as a condoning of the overall perspective that football has towards the authority of referees.
I've always said the same thing about cheating. I don't agree with it. I don't like it, but I understand why players do it. If I understand why they do it, doesn't mean I agree with it.
But why do you understand the mentality of a cheat? A cheat is a cheat is a cheat is a cheat.
Because
by understanding it, you're condoning it, aren't you?
Well, that's like saying if you don't. You can understand the mentality of someone who steals something if they're hungry and they need to get it for food. Right? You understand it, but you might not do it yourself.
But that's not.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but in the context that we're talking about, it's a situation where you're trying to eradicate something from a sports game.
Yeah,
we're talking
so
about
if
the context of life,
yes,
aren't we?
well, no, but it's the same principle.
Everyone's enjoying this on YouTube.
The thing is with simulation, it's very easy to get that gone. If you have the authorities who are brave enough to give out punishments retrospectively to stop.
But
that
you know why
happening.
that doesn't exist in the game, because the game is more concerned about players being sent off and changing the direction of the game rather than consequenting people that cheat in it.
Well, it's I think it's about fear of losing players for a long period of games when actually you want the best players on the pitch to sell the product.
And that's coming from the broadcasters.
Which is wrong.
Yeah. Danny, he's on one. He's on one. It's as
No,
simple
he's
as
not
that.
wrong. He's provocative for the right. He's provocative for the right reasons.
Oh, don't tell him that.